Imagine this. You wake up to the shocking news that the United States and China, two global superpowers, are at war. What was once a simmering geopolitical tension has exploded into a full-scale conflict, threatening to reshape the world order. But who would come out on top in such a monumental clash? What would happen in the crucial first hours of this war? In this video, we'll walk you through a minute-by-minute, hour-by-hour breakdown of the chaos, devastation, and strategic maneuvers that could unfold. Could the US Navy withstand China's relentless assault? Or would Beijing secure dominance over the Pacific? Let's explore these terrifying possibilities. Midnight in Beijing. As midnight strikes in Beijing, a decision is made that will alter the course of history. President Xi Jinping, surrounded by his top military advisors in a secret underground war room, weighs his options. For years, China has been quietly preparing for this moment, funneling billions into modernizing its military, building the world's largest navy, and amassing over 2 million active personnel. China's technological advances, ranging from hypersonic missiles to cutting-edge cyber warfare capabilities, have turned it into a near-peer competitor of the US. However, Xi knows a direct confrontation with the US could be disastrous, at least initially. The US military still holds the top spot in terms of global reach, air, and sea dominance. Rather than launching an immediate missile barrage, Xi opts for a different, unexpected first move: a massive cyber attack targeting US infrastructure. Over the years, Chinese cyber forces have quietly infiltrated critical US systems, lying in wait for the perfect moment to strike. That moment has arrived. Within seconds, electrical grids across the US flicker, water systems fail, and military communication networks go dark. American cities descend into confusion, and even civilian life is disrupted. But the real chaos unfolds within the US military, as key defense systems are crippled. Disarray in the United States. Across the Pacific, in Washington, D.C., President Biden is rushed into a secure briefing room. The scale of the cyber attack is unprecedented. This is not just a disruption. It's a calculated attempt to paralyze US military operations. Critical defense networks are compromised, and as the Pentagon scrambles to regain control, the clock is ticking. The US has been struck, but the real war is only just beginning. Xi's primary goal is clear: neutralize the US military presence in the Pacific. US bases in Japan, South Korea, and Guam must be dealt with before any confrontation with the US mainland. His military planners have devised a strategy of shock and awe. While the US struggles to recover from the cyber attack, China launches the next phase: a wave of ballistic missile strikes. The first strike, missile barrage. At this point, over 120,000 members of China's rocket force spring into action. Hundreds of ballistic missiles are launched, targeting key US military installations across Japan, South Korea, and Guam. Major bases like Kadena Air Base in Okinawa and Naval Base Guam are hit within minutes. Aircraft are destroyed on the ground, ships are engulfed in flames, and military personnel are caught in the crossfire. The destruction is swift and overwhelming. Entire squadrons of aircraft are wiped out, naval vessels are sunk, and crucial communication hubs are obliterated. Thousands of US personnel lose their lives in moments. Yet, this is only the opening act in a much larger conflict. Despite the devastation, the US is not completely defenseless. Under the oversight of the newly established US Space Force, American missile defense systems spring into action. Ground-based interceptors from installations in Alaska and California are launched, trying to shoot down the incoming missile barrage. While some Chinese missiles are intercepted, the sheer volume overwhelms US defenses. It becomes clear that China's goal isn't total destruction, but buying time for its next decisive move: the invasion of Taiwan. China's invasion of Taiwan begins. With US forces reeling from the first wave of attacks, China shifts focus to Taiwan. Securing control of the island would give Beijing strategic dominance over the Pacific and strike a crippling blow to US influence in the region. Thousands of Chinese missiles rain down on Taiwanese military bases, and fighter jets fill the skies. Taiwan, however, is prepared. Under President Tsai Ing-wen's leadership, Taiwan has spent years fortifying its defenses, including US-supplied Patriot missile systems and advanced anti-aircraft measures. Chinese forces launch a massive amphibious assault, storming the beaches in an attempt to establish a foothold. But they face fierce resistance. The Taiwanese military, having anticipated such an attack, fortifies the beaches and prepares for brutal urban combat. Chinese forces, expecting a swift victory, are caught off guard by the ferocity of Taiwan's defense. What was meant to be a quick takeover now becomes a drawn-out battle. The US counterattack. As the situation escalates, President Biden and his military advisors initiate a coordinated counterattack. Within 24 hours, US allies, including Japan, Australia, and NATO, mobilize. A combined fleet of US, NATO, and Pacific allies set sail towards the Taiwan Strait, intent on stopping China's advance. The US reveals a new strategy called the Rapid Dragon, where retrofitted cargo planes launch long-range cruise missiles from high altitudes. These missiles confuse Chinese defenses, striking key military installations with precision. Despite China's vast military, it struggles to match the precision and technological prowess of the US-led coalition. Weeks of brutal fighting. 2 weeks into the conflict, China starts to experience the harsh realities of war. US and allied forces successfully cut off China's supply routes to Taiwan. Once confident in their overwhelming force, Chinese troops find themselves bogged down in intense fighting. The massive size of China's military becomes a liability as logistics falter and morale crumbles. Taiwan holds firm. US and NATO firepower devastates China's navy, crippling its ability to control the Taiwan Strait. Despite years of preparation, China is now fighting on 2 fronts, against Taiwan's resolute defenders and the overwhelming might of the US and its allies. The fall of China's ambitions. By the second month, the writing is on the wall. Xi Jinping's ambition to seize Taiwan has failed. The war drags on longer than anticipated, and with NATO fully engaged, China's navy is decimated. Crushing sanctions from the international community add to China's woes. With its economy on the brink of collapse, public unrest grows in Chinese cities, and Xi is forced to order a retreat. China's withdrawal from the Taiwan Strait marks the end of the conflict, but the damage is done. Both nations are left in ruins. Cities across the Pacific bear the scars of war. Economies are shattered, and millions of lives have been lost. While the US and its allies may claim victory, the global balance of power is irreparably altered. The aftermath and unanswered questions. As the world recovers, new questions emerge. Could this war have been avoided? Was conflict inevitable, or could diplomacy have prevented such unimaginable loss? How would NATO fare in a real-world scenario? And if given the chance, would China take a different path to this hypothetical war between the US and China? If these two superpowers clash, both sides may prepare for victory, but in the end, both would pay an unimaginable price. Thanks for watching.